Hello everybody! I am so pleased that you have chosen this video that you might be more connected today. Welcome to your practice. Welcome to the mat. I was thinking about what we bring to the mat, and I wanted to say something like, don't bring all those things to the mat with you. But you know what? That's exactly what your mat is for. So whatever you have brought today, bring it onto your mat, because your mat is where you work those things out. So don't feel like you can't bring part of you to this practice. Bring every part of you to your practice. Work through every part of you, and then notice what gets left behind on the mat. Notice what gets grown on the mat. There's a lot to notice. And you thought you were coming to just like stretch, right? Oh, there's so much more to being connected. All right, wherever you're at right now, on your mat, find a restful position. Maybe for you that's lying down and taking up some glorious space, palms towards the ceiling. Perhaps you're seated crisscross applesauce. Perhaps you are in child's pose with your knees wide and your big toes together. I invite you to find a restful posture. You could even be standing right now in mountain pose if that feels restful and connected to you. Now, allow your eyes to close down. For some of you that may not be comfortable, and that's fine, but if it is comfortable, close your eyes down and just listen to my words, listen to my voice. I'll talk you through it. You don't need to be worried that you might miss something. I'll let you know when it's time to open those little peepers back up again. Eyes are closed down. You notice your body. Notice those cranky spaces in your body. Notice where you might be holding tension in your body. Just notice. Bringing yourself into a present moment is really about noticing. So if you notice that your mind is starting to wander around and get busy, then add a count to your breath. You can inhale for 4 seconds. You can exhale for 4 seconds. Counting your breath keeps you in a present moment, keeps you noticing, and helps you from traveling all around. So your eyes are closed down. You've noticed your body. Let's notice our breath now. On your next inhalation, take a deep breath into your low belly. Start low and then trace that breath up through your abdomen. Your ribs expand, your belly rises. Maybe your breath, the top of it is way up in your clavicles. Wherever it's at, draw it all the way to the top. And then as you exhale, reverse that process. Exhale from the top of your breath and start pressing the breath out of your body from the mid all the way to the low belly. When you get to the bottom, squish out that last little bit before you inhale, drawing deep from the low belly, tracing it up through, ribs expand, belly rises, breath is coming all the way to the top. And then reversing the process, exhaling from the top of your breath to the mid, to the low belly. And keep practicing this active pranayama. This expands your lung capacity. It fuels and feeds your body. Just breathing and being still can be the very hardest parts of a practice. So if you are still and you are breathing, welcome to your beautiful practice. Keep that breath going, and I'm going to open us with a few words here. So eyes are closed down and breath is flowing. I've taught this class a few times, but I feel like I can never get enough of it. So our theme today is, what do you think to yourself? What we think determines how we live, and we live at the mercy of our stories, the narratives in our head. Our stories shape the way that we live. I'm going to say that one more time, a little slowly, and you're breathing, and just absorb and digest this. What you think determines how you live, and you live at the mercy of your story. Your story shapes the way that you live your life. Your story shapes the way that you choose your food, the clothes that you wear, and the relationships that you have. If you think that you're better off rich, then you strive to acquire wealth. If your story tells you that to be valuable, you have to appear a certain way, maybe young, maybe slim, and those things make you more desirable, then you live to be that way. If your story says you are alone, then you tend to live your life in a reclusive and distant way from others. Because what you think determines how you live. So I invite you to think about your story. What do you think to yourself? And what is determining how you're living this day? What thoughts are determining how you express yourself? Do you think that you're sick or healthy? Are you sad or happy? Do you think that you're old or young, alone, anxious? What do you think to yourself? Just breathe into that. Eyes are still closed down. I'm going to meet you on the mat, and then we're going to work through what we think to ourselves. Take a couple more big, full breaths wherever you're at. Hello, you can open your eyes now. You've connected to some full, beautiful breathing. Let's gently wiggle our fingers and our toes. Maybe you're lying down, maybe you're in child's pose. Wherever you're at, just waking yourself up gently here. Eyes are opening up. Ah, yeah, this is good. What we think determines how we live. That is an interesting thought, isn't it? Let's come onto our backs. If you're already there, welcome. If you're not, join me there. I'm gonna draw my knees into my chest, give myself a little hug, rock back and forth. Full active pranayama, that is your controlled breath. Just taking authority over your breath. Hanging on to that right leg. Let's let the left leg go long, coming into your Pavamuktasana. See if you can make a chest to thigh connection here. So you're drawing that thigh into your chest. This is a beautiful, gentle hip opener. I love it, because we're going to need to access those hips. Full breath here. And then as you exhale, let's switch sides. So let the right leg go long, left leg is invited in. Maybe you notice as you exhale, you're able to draw that thigh just a little bit closer into your abdomen here. This also is a beautiful internal massage. I know some people think that's really weird to think about, but you really are giving yourself a beautiful internal organ massage here just by finding that compression into your belly. Full breath here. And then as you exhale, let's invite both legs up towards the ceiling. Let your arms go out like airplane wings, a capital T. And then we're going to let the legs drop heavy to the right side body, coming into a spinal twist here. Notice if your knees are really far apart, you are welcome to put a pillow or blankie between those. I actually like to take my hand and just encourage my knees to be together. If your left shoulder is loud and cranky right now, never find that place where you're harming and hurting yourself. Just bring that left hand and cup your ribs. You're just looking for those spaces in your body that are the first point of resistance. So if you found that you've gone to the 5th point and you are hurting, back up and find that first point and breathe into it. That is how you expand your body and your practice. All right, when you're ready, we're going to, with the inhale, draw our knees back up towards the ceiling, pausing here, and then exhale, legs drop heavy to the right side body, spinal twist. Again, now we're noticing that left shoulder, and both sides of your body can be equally different, so perhaps one side is loud and one side is quiet. That's all right. It's your body. It's a good body. Do you think that to yourself? I used to think I was weak. I used to think I wasn't valuable. I used to think all sorts of things that was determining how I lived my life. I lived out of the outpouring of, Brandi, you're weak? What do you live out of the outpouring of your life? Inhaling back up to center. Give yourself some squeeze in here. And then let's grab behind the knees and we'll just rock to roll up. You can take your time. You're welcome to take a few rocks here, whatever feels best to you. And then we're gonna meet in a seated position. Crisscross applesauce. We're gonna let that left hand come down beside us. Inhale, the right arm rises and then reaches over. What you notice here is just a soft opening in the right side body. So you can notice here, like if your knees are starting to really float high and you're holding all this tension right in your hips here, you can place some blankets or blocks, pillows under your knees. Inhale, let's put both arms up, create some space and length here, let your spine get long. And then exhale, right hand comes down, left arm reaches over. Take a big breath and see how much space you can create between your ribs. Inhaling back up to center, big breath, lengthen. As you exhale, hinge from the waist and fold forward. And just land wherever your body desires to land here. Let your head go, let your neck be heavy. Take 2 full breaths here. Notice with every exhale, perhaps you sink just a little bit deeper in that forward fold. I used to think that I was fat and told myself that all the time, and I lived that narrative out in my life. Brandi, you are weak and fat and unlovable. And can you imagine how much joy that brought me? If you said none, you were absolutely right. Walking yourself back up to center. Inhale, fill yourself up. What we think to ourselves determines how we live. Exhale down. Let's meet in tabletop position, hands and knees. And we're going to invite that left leg forward, coming into a low lunge. So in your low lunge, seek to draw that left hip back and the right hip forward so you square your hips off. That just means your hips are facing the same direction when you square them off. It helps to place your hands on your hips sometimes because you can notice if you're twisting at all on your hips. Once they're square, then you sink into your lunge and you access those tight, cranky hips. The low abdominal muscles, even the back muscles, because if you're really rounding forward here in your lunge, see if your spine can get long and tall. Your hands can be on your hips, your thigh, the ground beside you, blocks. Just accessing those hips. Take a full breath here. Now let's come into our half split. So straighten that left leg and then see if you can stack your right hip directly over your right knee. You're noticing your hamstring here, perhaps your calf as well, but what you don't want to notice is the back of your knee. If you feel a lot of tension in the back of that knee, which I did, so I'm making my correction, is to micro bend that knee and seek to feel this in your hamstring. This is a great place for blocks if you need a little extra lift here. Also to keep your spine straight, because if you're really rounding to get over that leg, see if you can straighten and lengthen your spine. Draw your shoulders down your back. Big breath here. Let's plant those hands, invite that left leg back and switch sides. Right leg forward, low lunge. Draw that right hip back, left hip forward, so squaring your hips off and then sinking into your lunge. What are you accessing here? Staying connected to your breath, your full active breath. your story tells you that to be valuable, you need to appear a certain way, you strive to appear that way. If your story tells you that wealthy is the best way to be, and I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but just notice what your story is telling you, and then consider whether or not those things you've been running after have ever actually brought you any joy. Lasting, true joy. Let's press through that right foot, coming into our half splits. Stacking that left hip directly over the left knee. Micro bend that right leg, that right knee. Access that hamstring, straighten your spine. I'm pulling those right toes back towards my face. So notice, are you pointing your toes away from you? Let's pull them back towards you. If your story says that you're alone, that people don't love you, then you tend to live that way. You tend to live alone, reclusive, because what you think determines how you live, and you live at the mercy of what you think. It's interesting, right? Have you ever thought that before? All right, let's invite that leg back. Prepare for your first down dog of the day. Fingers are spread wide, big toes curl under, lift your hips towards the ceiling. Heels are heavy, chest is drawing towards your thighs. Hips are high here. See if you can really lift those hips high. Just noticing your story, just noticing what you think. And then notice whether or not what you think is bringing you joy. Has it ever? I'll tell you, weighing myself on a scale every day, measuring my waist with a tape measure, I can't think of a time that those activities and practices ever brought me joy. What kind of practices and habits do you have that you've been doing time and time again, expecting them to quench your thirst, when really perhaps they were never intended to do that? Let's inhale that left leg up to the sky. As you exhale, look up between your hands and step that foot on through. We're going to rise up into our crescent lunge. Inhale, rising up. Left hip back, right hip forward, pressing actively through those left big toes. See if you can stack your heel right over your toes. Ooh, you'll notice the difference. So when you're back like this, you're like, okay, I could do this for a while. And then you roll up onto that toe and you're like, whoa, mama. Big breath here. As you exhale, drop that left heel. Coming into Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. Staying connected to your breath. From here, keep that right hand reaching up towards the ceiling. Look up at it. Now drop that left hand down. Reach that right hand back behind you. I might have got my lefts and rights mixed up, but we're in a reverse warrior. Big bend in that left knee. As you inhale, rising all the way back up, and then dropping into Bikram's triangle. That's with the left knee still bent. Right hand is up at 12 o'clock. Left is down at 6. From here, straightening that left leg. Now you are in triangle. Traditional. Trikonasana. Take a full breath here. As you inhale, scrape the ceiling, reversing your triangle. Head drops back. Left hand reaches behind you. See how much space you can create here. This is a lengthening, beautiful, heart-opening posture. Full breath. On your next inhale, rising all the way back up into Warrior 2, then flipping that left palm, coming into extended side angle, Utthita Parsvottanasana. Full breath here. Then rise and back up into warrior two. Right foot is going to meet the left at the top of the mat. Fill yourself up with breath. Exhale, pull through to your heart center. Hinge from the waist, Uttanasana, forward fold. Take any movement here that feels good to you. Just noticing the difference between the right and left leg now. On your next inhale, let's find a halfway lift, tabletop flat back. Exhaling, folding deeply. Rooting to rise. Circle, sweep the arms all the way up to the top. And then we're going to step the left foot back, coming into our crescent lunge. Get that heel up over those toes. Right hip back, left hip forward, squaring those hips off. Look over that right knee. See if you can see a couple toes down there. If you can't, walk that foot out a little bit farther. See how that feels. Big inhale. As you exhale, coming into warrior one. Ooh, I'm building some heat. Are you building some heat? Full inhale here. Now look up at that left hand. Right hand drops back. Reverse the warrior. Beautiful opening posture. On your next inhale, rising up to warrior two, then dropping into Bikram's triangle. Right knee is still bent here. Left hand is up at 12. Right is down at 6. Now straightening that right leg. Oh, for me that was a sweet relief. I don't know about you. We're in traditional triangle, Trikonasana. On your next inhalation, scrape the ceiling, reversing your triangle. Oh, create some length and space in your body. A full, expansive, exploring breath. On your next inhale, rising up into warrior two. Then flipping that right palm, coming into extended side angle. Utthita Parsvottanasana. On your next inhale, let's find warrior two. All the way up into warrior two. And then turn those right toes towards the long edge of your mat. Inhale your arms up. What are you gathering? Gather with your breath. Exhale, press your palms together, pull through, hands to hips, hinging from the waist. Big toes in, heels bump out, a wide-legged forward fold. You can release your hands down to the mat. Micro bend those knees. Feel the sensation in your hamstrings while you're protecting your knees. What you think determines how you live, and you live at the mercy of what you think. What you think shapes the way that you live your life. What I thought determined how I chose my food. It determined the clothes that I would wear. It determined the relationships that I had. All of these things that I was thinking to myself were determining the outcome of how I lived my life. And some of those things were good and pleasing. But this practice has invited me to notice where some of my lifestyle choices and habits actually did not bring me comfort and joy. Let's inhale to a halfway lift, tabletop flat back. Exhale, plant your left hand below your face. Inhale, the right arm rises. We're in a twisted, wide-legged forward fold. See if it's comfortable for your neck to look up at that right thumb. And then where do you notice this in your body? Take a full breath into that space. As you exhale, plant the right hand, switch sides, left arm rises. Full breath into those spaces that find resistance. Explore that resistance with your breath. Exhaling back to center. Let's find an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold deeply. Heel toe your feet in a little bit, so walk your feet in a little bit here till they're about hip width distance apart, maybe a little bit more. And then we're gonna drop our hips and come into our Malasana, garland squat. This is a great place for a block under your glutes, especially if you're like me and you just have super tight hips. And then press your palms together at heart center and press your elbows into your knees. Maybe your hips are all the way down on your heels. Maybe you're like me and they're hovering somewhere. See if you can get your spine really long and tall. Full breath here. As you exhale, plant your hands, lift your hips. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to hips. Exhale, fold deeply. And when you're ready, rooting to rise all the way to the top. Fill yourself up and gather. What are you gathering here? And then we're going to turn towards the short edge of our mat. The left leg is forward, right leg is back. We're back in our crescent lunge. Full inhale. Exhale, dropping that left heel. Warrior one. Gaze is up at the right hand. Left hand drops back. Reverse the warrior. As you inhale, rising all the way up and then dropping into Bikram's triangle. Straightening that left leg, coming into triangle, Trikonasana. Full breath. Your inhale rises you up, scraping the ceiling. Reverse your triangle. Inhaling all the way up to warrior two. Flipping that left palm, coming into extended side angle. Your extended side angle can look a lot of different ways. Find what's comfortable for you. Inhaling back up to warrior two. Then turn your toes towards the long edge of your mat. Fill yourself up. Hinge from the waist. Wide-legged forward fold. This time you can take your left hand and reach for the outside of your right calf or ankle, and then inhale, the right arm rises. This is a deeper twist. Maybe you can access this a little better now since we've been warming it up. Exhaling back to center, switching sides. Right hand on left ankle, left arm rises. Big twist. As you exhale, coming back to center, inhale, halfway lift, tabletop flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise. You can take a big bend in your knees here and then rise up. Gather. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, turning to the short edge of your mat. Right foot forward, left foot back. We're back in our crescent lunge. Building heat in your body. Dropping that left heel, coming into warrior one. Right arm is extended, left arm drops back. Reverse your warrior. Inhaling all the way up and dropping into Bikram's triangle. Is your body building a little memory now? Straightening that right leg, coming into triangle pose. Staying connected to your breath. And when you're ready, your inhale will bring you all the way up. Scrape the ceiling. Reverse your triangle. Lots of length and space here. As you inhale, rising up into warrior two. Flipping that right palm, coming into extended side angle. And your next inhale will bring you up into warrior two. Toes turn towards the long edge of the mat. Gather your breath. Press your palms together. Pull through to your heart center. Hinge from the waist. Wide-legged forward fold. Take any movement here that feels good. Maybe big bend in the knees, lifting the hips high. Head is heavy, neck is released. Preparing to revisit your garland, your malasana squat. Heel toe your feet in to a comfortable distance for you. Then dropping your hips. Palms pressed together at heart center. Elbows press into the knees. Shimmy around as much as you need to find that spot that feels good for you. Then let your hips be heavy, and perhaps this garland feels a little more comfortable for you than the first one because we've built some heat. We've expanded our bodies with our movement and our breath. Just noticing those subtle changes. Still smiling. Oh, we're still smiling. This is good. All right, plant your hands. Inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, fold deeply. Find an inhale, halfway lift. And an exhale, fold. Root to rise, circle sweep. Take a big bend in your knees before you do it, and then gather yourself all the way to the top. Preparing to switch sides, turning to the short edge of your mat. Left foot is forward, right foot is back. We're back in our crescent lunge. As you exhale, dropping that left heel, coming into warrior one. The left hand stays extended towards the ceiling. The right hand drops back, reversing our warrior. Inhaling all the way back up to warrior two, and then dropping into Bikram's triangle. Full breath. Let your breath guide you through your practice. Straightening that left leg, coming into traditional triangle, Trikonasana. Right hand is up at 12 o'clock, left is down at 6. See if you can really roll that right shoulder back and open. I might be getting my lefts and rights mixed up a lot, so I hope that you're just enjoying going through this practice with me and giggling at every time that I mix up a left and a right, because it's reversed with this camera. So I'm having to mirror, and I'm not super talented at it, but I still have a lot of fun doing it. On your next inhale, we're going to reverse our triangle. Big inhale. Take your time getting there. And then create some length and space. On your next inhale, rising up to warrior two. Flipping that palm, coming into your extended side angle. Full breath here. Inhaling to warrior two. Toes turn towards the long edge of the mat. Let's heel to our feet in, or just step them in. And meet me in mountain pose. In mountain pose, your feet are about hip width distance apart, so they're right under your lungs. You can look down and see. Perhaps you can take two fists and place them right between your feet. From your feet, let's start tracing our thoughts up through our body And as you get to each spot, see if you can activate it. So center your weight in your feet, maybe rocking forward and backward just a little to notice if your weight is all in your toes or all in your heels. Then activate your calves. Come up past your knees. Activate your thighs. Notice your pelvic bowl here. Notice if you're really bumping your tushy out, or if you can lengthen your tailbone down towards the floor, centering your pelvic bowl and not allowing all those contents to tip out. So this is lengthened and this is tipping out. Lengthen, draw that tailbone down towards the floor. Activate your abdomen, traveling up. Notice your shoulders and really let them be heavy. There's so much space between your ears and your shoulders now. And the top of your head is reaching and long and tall. This is your active mountain. If a wind blows, you will not be shifted because you are so rooted and anchored and strong and deeply centered. Take a full breath here. Exhale, release it out. Preparing for your Vrksasana or tree pose. Let's begin with the weight in the left foot. The right heel can be on the right ankle, or foot to calf, or foot to the inner thigh. You can even be holding that foot. So find your version of tree pose, Vrksasana, that feels like a balance to you, but not that you're just gonna fall out of it. So if that just means that your toes are on the ground and your heel is on your ankle, that's balance. That's what you're seeking. Seek out your moment of balance. Where is it today? Then you can notice where your hands want to be. Perhaps they're at heart center, pressed together. Maybe you're really feeling like growing some branches here, so you've got some cactus arms. Or perhaps your tree feels so tall and glorious and strong that your arms reach way up past. Just notice your tree, your moment of balance. Practicing these postures while letting our breath flow increases our concentration, our stamina, our stability. You don't even know everything you're increasing right now, but you are increasing. Let's take one more full breath here. As you exhale, instead of letting that foot drop, see if you can bring it across your thigh and sink into your Ekapada Utkatasana, your one-legged chair pose. Take your time getting there. Just building a little bit of heat in that left thigh, that left foot too. Maybe you notice that foot and thigh. I certainly do. I'm enjoying holding this challenging posture because I know that it's just for another breath or two, and then I'm going to enjoy releasing it. So there's something so beautiful about knowing I can hold a challenge for a moment because I can also release a challenge. Take a big inhale into holding your challenge, and then as you're ready, exhale and release your challenge. Roll that foot and ankle out. Woo, that feels good. Feel some heat in there. All right, do any wiggling you need to. Shake it out because you were still for a moment. And then we're gonna switch sides. So the weight is in the right foot, left heel to left ankle, or calf, or inner thigh, or hold that foot. So seek it out. What is your body desiring? And this side can be completely different than the other side. Taking my time. Take your time. The thing you're really seeking to not do is put your foot directly on your knee. So above the knee or below the knee. Notice that. Root deeply through your right foot. Find your dristi, your soft gaze, and softly focus on that as you increase your stamina, your stability, and your concentration. And then if you'd like to, explore your branches in your tree. Where would they like to be? Increasing your practice, your mind and your body, just through posing and breathing. One more full breath in your tree. As you exhale, before you fully release, let's see if we can place that left heel across the thigh and then sink those hips down and come into your one-legged chair, Ekapada Utkatasana. Notice that heat that you've built in there. Notice the challenge that you are facing. You're coming up against it. You might be thinking, I cannot do this. But you can. You can do anything for one more breath. We can do this together. We can do hard things. And just as we can hold a challenging posture and breathe into what's necessary to keep it flowing, so too can we inhale into it. And we can exhale, let that challenge go. That one's done. We've conquered it. We've moved through it. We're moving beyond it. Big bend in your knees, circle sweep your arms, fill yourself up with breath, gather and collect. Let your head drop back and look up for a moment. Your fingers are spread wide, your arms are reaching. What are you gathering right here? What are you gathering? Maybe it's just breath, maybe it's a thought. Fill yourself up with it. And then press your palms together over your head and pull through. Pause at your forehead and let your thumbs touch your forehead. This is how you seal your new practices into your mind. Allow your thumbs to come down to your lips, pausing at your lips. This is how you seal your new practices into your mouth and your words. Drawing your thumbs down your chest and into your heart center. This is how you seal your practices into your heart. This is a sealing of everything that you have worked so hard for. All of those asanas, those postures, those warriors, all of that breath, all of those thoughts. We are sealing in the hard work that we've done. Gathering, collecting, enriching, and enhancing ourselves through practice. Releasing your hands down to your sides. You're welcome to meet me in your final Shavasana. So coming down to your mat, perhaps you would like to lay down on your back and let your palms open up and your toes turn out and you're just taking up space and fully releasing into your mat. Perhaps you're desiring child's pose where your knees go wide and your big toes together and your forehead connects with the mat beneath you. Maybe you would like to meet me in Sukhasana or crisscross applesauce. Find your restorative posture and don't allow yourself to leave just yet. Close your eyes down, fully release into your final Shavasana, and allow me to close this out with a few words while you come back into your natural native breath and your heart comes back to its natural native rhythm. In this moment, in this space, I invite you to release all of the stories in your life that have not brought you joy. Are you able to release them and turn the page of your life's book? This page is blank. It's fresh and clean and new. This page is ready to be filled with a story as new as the page itself, as new as your last breath. Your thoughts are this new page. This good body that you have, this moment, it's your new page. And you can write on these pages the ideas of your true, beautiful, more than enough self. As you live in the contentment of being more than enough, you determine how you live, because what you think determines how you live. So what do you think to yourself? Friends, may you be more than enough. May you be truly connected to love and joy, and release words that have been spoken over you that did not serve you well, and practices that you have been taking that have not been serving you well. May you release them and not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but transformed through the renewing of your mind. If you have enjoyed this practice, I encourage you to share this with your friends, with your family, with your loved ones. And if you would like to, press your palms together, joining me with your thumbs at your heart center, gently bowing your chin, feeling grateful for every beautiful thing you have just released and received. In Jesus' name, namaste.